Hi, and welcome to Lesson 6, Step 3, Awesome Photo Grids. We've already looked at collages and multi-panel photos together. In some ways, photo grids are like a hybrid of these. I think of them like a wall collage. Instead of putting different photos within a single print, like a collage, you put them in separate prints, but you hang them together. Like this beautiful grid here, composed of 3 photos by Albert Droz. In this lesson, we're going to look at several photo grid examples and go through how to make a photo grid that will really show off your photos and look amazing in your home. First, the basics. While the word grid brings to mind evenly spaced items aligned in a certain structured way, photo grids can actually be hung to form nearly any shape you want on the wall. Squares, rectangles, or free-form shapes. I've even seen a heart-shaped one, I think. They can be symmetrical or asymmetrical. You can mix up sizes and layouts with all vertical or all horizontal or a combination. So I just don't want you to think of grids as stuffy or square. They're whatever you choose, and that's why they're great for your creativity. Photo grids can have as many photos and take up as much space as you want. You could hang 4 square photos together to form a giant square above your bed, or hang 10 rectangular photos together to form a huge rectangle above your couch. Photo grids are usually composed of photos with a common theme or style, similar to collage. It's your photos and your home though, so whatever theme or style or even color scheme you like will work. Lastly, photo grids will actually look great everywhere in your home. Because they're whatever shape you want and use the photos that are as big or as small as you want, they're infinitely flexible. They'll work in big prominent spots like above your couch or bed, but also in the hallway or in a study. And before we get into exactly how to make a grid, I wanted to take a look at some examples of the basics so I can show you what I mean. Some of these I made in Photoshop and some are just real photos from people's homes. The theme of this cool photo grid is adventure. Each photo print isn't very big, but if you just hung 1 or 2 of those at those same sizes in your room, it just wouldn't capture the whole spirit that this display does. Some are hung vertically and some are hung horizontally, but together they form a perfect rectangle. Not all the spacing between the photos is perfectly equal, but that's okay, it still looks great. But what if you didn't want such a big display, or you didn't want to print so many photos? Well, take a look at this. This is a very similar adventure grid, but in a different shape and with only 5 prints. The large square grid looks great above the couch too, don't you think? This grid uses the same size photos, spaced exactly the same. Now, if you're a nature photographer, you can choose any nature theme you like and create a grid with your best photo shots. These stunning bird photos were all taken by exposure ambassador and nature photographer Gustav Kieber. The uniformity of the layout can create a sense of calm. Grids can also be quite exciting, as we see here with these popping close-up coffee photos hung above a kitchen table. This grid combines rectangles and squares, which is a technique that I really like. But what if you don't want a perfect square or perfect rectangle? No one says that all grids need to be perfectly aligned on the outside. This grid uses a free-form style for the layout, yet a common nature theme for the photos that ties it all together. So by now, you really want to know how to design your own photo grid, don't you? Let's do it. So start by thinking about the number of photos that you want to hang, the amount of wall space you'll have to hang them in, and the shape that you want the total display to have. Do you want to have a square? Do you want a rectangle? Or do you want something more freeform? Just like in the first 2 steps, what you first need to do is to figure out the height and width of the space where you want to hang your photo grid. Then take a look at the print sizes available and do some calculating to make sure that your photos will fit in your home space. Say, for example, that you measured your couch and it's 84 inches wide. You don't want to hang photos all the way to the ceiling, so you're looking for a total photo display that's probably not more than 45 inches tall. That means you have 80 by 45 inches, and you can easily hang a big rectangular shaped display using 4 30 by 20 inch exposure photo prints. But how would that look exactly? To have an idea of how it would look, you could draw out old school on a piece of paper different grid designs to check your layout. That's actually how I often do when I'm starting to decide and I want to decide which print sizes and ratios I want and their layout. Another option is to use the same Photoshop trick we used to make the multi-panels. Let's have a look together. Start by making a new document with dimensions that are larger than the wall space where your photo grid will hang. I'm going to make this one 100 by 50 inches, and I think I want to have 4 20 by 30 inch prints, so I'll make those shapes. But when you're doing this, you should use whichever sizes you want to try out. You can make the shapes by selecting the rectangular marquee tool in the toolbar on the left side, and then selecting Fix Size and inputting the dimensions that you want. Then create a new layer and click in your image. The shape with the dimensions you choose will just appear. To give the shape a color, click Alt and Backspace to fill it in with the foreground color that you had selected. I want 4 of these, so I'll use Control or Command D to first deselect that shape, and then Control and Command J to duplicate the layers. Once you have the shapes that you want, drag them around to the layout where you think you're going to want to hang them. If you really also want to see how your photos would look in that layout, then open your photos in that same document and make sure they're layered directly above the shape in the position where you'd like them to hang. Create a clipping mask for each photo by either right-clicking and then scrolling down to create clipping mask, or by putting your cursor between the photo and the shape and holding down Alt and then just clicking. Once you've done that for each photo, you'll have a very good idea of how your photos will look hanging in a grid. And when you have it exactly how you want, you can save each photo from your grid individually by first flattening that image and then going to File, scrolling down to Automate, and clicking on Crop and Straighten Photos. This is exactly what we did to make the multi-panel photos in Step 2. If you want to have an idea of how your proposed layout would look on the wall, I recommend making a mock photo grid using old paper or clean garbage bags. Yeah, you're going to want the clean ones. And simply cut out whichever size of photos you think you want and then tape them on the wall. If it doesn't look right, move them or try different sizes. And when you've got it just right, you'll know, I promise. Well, this was officially the last lesson in this e-course. There is, of course, a bonus lesson, Lesson 7, Photos for a Better Life. This bonus lesson has no steps and no Photoshop tips, but in it, I will share why getting your photos on the wall is literally, scientifically good for you. It's something that all photographers should know and is going to make you even more appreciative of your amazing hobby. So keep on being and shooting rawesome, and I look forward to seeing you in Lesson 7, the bonus.